Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Hope you're fun shoveling and watching the Olympics and doing all those other types of wonderful things. We have a full agenda today, including a presentation from and about Columbia Green Community College. Looking forward to that. We'll begin with our consent agenda. These are routine items that typically don't require a lot of discussion. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of the last meeting, the 2025 governance and nominating committee discharge duties, real property acquisition policy, property disposition policy, whistleblower policy, and the 2025 board attendance summary. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. On to the finance committee. And Brian, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, sure. No, we had a good meeting. We cleaned up a little bit of stuff with the year-end financials. Mike talked about the charter, no changes to the charter, got that approved. Otherwise, just good discussion.
Okay, good. Mike, you want to lead us through the financial statements?
As Brian mentioned, we focused on two things at the finance committee meeting. One was year-end 2025 as well as January 2026. The audit is in full swing. Everyone on the staff is providing various details to the auditors. I don't know, I think it's every year they get more meticulous, and I'd love to point out to them that I won't give that to you last year. It should be in your file. No, I give it to them just to get it done quickly, and that's going well. I think the two issues that we were looking at with respect to last year was one, we had accrued the first 6 months of the Columbia Forward Grant as deferred income in 2023 because, or 2022, because the contract started in June, but they paid us for the whole year. I didn't think it was appropriate to take the money, having not done the first 6 months of the year work. Well, it's kind of coming back to us now because they're now saying that, well, the contract is over. You don't have any opportunity to do that work without amending the contract. You can't amend the contract because it was ARPA money with the county. So they want to now have me report that as income. So, you know, it's $42,000 that would be added to the bottom line. On the other issue, we did get a piece of the IDA sold a piece of property for the Board of Supervisors and the Commerce Center. The net proceeds was $48,000. The Board of Supervisors directed the IDA to provide, to transfer that money to CEDC for future economic development direct purposes. They're saying that we have to report that as income. Even though my argument is, well, it's in a lockbox until the Board of Supervisors tells us how to spend it, because obviously we're now setting ourselves up to the year they tell us to spend it. The money's already been reported in the previous year. We're going to have a $48,000 expense that we don't have matching income to cover. It's not a bad thing. I don't like seeing not-for-profits making $100,000 a year. Looks like you're not fulfilling your mission, but if those two issues can't be resolved to our position, we'll just make sure they're properly footnoted. But we did convince them that the nature of our loan portfolio was such that they were originally opposing putting the full $75,000 that you had authorized me to put into the loan loss reserve fund, or I'm sorry, the bad debt loan loss fund. That we didn't have, that our risk profile wasn't sufficient to support that. Martha and Steve and I went through and we started rating people. If you didn't send in your tax return, or you didn't send in your insurance certificate, or you violated any of the other covenants that, we would drop you a whole rating. and the result was that, we're pretty close to where we think we should be. And the good part of that is we're building that reserve. And at the same time, we're expensing $75,000 against the extra income that, they may make us report. With respect to, the January financials, which start on, page 15 of the packet. The balance sheet, remains strong. We do have, if we look, in the second category under CEDC cash loan accounts, we are $36,000 below the amount of cash that we had in that account this time last year, which means there's $36,000 more out on the street in loans. With respect to the next section, you'll see we're down $98,000 in operating bank accounts. It is causing a bit of a cash flow crunch. And the accounts receivable, you'll see that the federal government owes us $208,000 from the grant for the SBA loan program. Martha and I have been in touch with the government representatives that we work with. There's no attempt to say that they're not going to pay it. They had some issues that they provided us as to why they were getting it to us, and we did get an email 2 weeks ago, Martha, that indicates that they hoped within 3 to 4 weeks that we would get paid. We do have sufficient cash to get through the month, and we do get the $125,000 check from the county for the first quarter for $125,000 on next Thursday. So, it's tight, but it's not like we're blowing through cash. It's just that we're increasing the receivables. And I did not want to, I've managed the cash in a way that, if you're $1 billion corporation, you may have us on your 60-day list. But I managed the cash so I did not have to go into the $200,000 reserve account, because my feeling is once you do that, it's really hard to put back. And we might need it in this. Really, the only other issue that on the asset side are the see where's the SBA loans. So loan account from the SBA, we have $41,000 more in the cash account than we had last year at this time, which basically balances out for $36,000 of additional loans in the CEDC loan account. Any questions on the balance sheet? If not, 1 month in the P&L, 1 month doesn't make a year. We are under your budget. We have total income of $102,000 versus budgeted $97,000. We have had budgeted $5,000 for broadband. That money is coming from the state, and we may have to modify the budget to put that dollar amount where in the month that we anticipate receiving it. On the expense side, we're down $17,000. Brian had asked at the committee meeting about our employee expense, which shows down $8,000. They had run it the total divided by 12 and not staggered it to recognize that in March, April, or May or June, you'd have a partial salary depending on when the new CEO starts. So we're going to correct that from a budget standpoint. And there was a situation that Cat Leiden picked up where there was an issue with the payroll company where somehow we were getting debited for another account. We had, I guess, the same bank account number at a different bank. They've sorted that out. But in that payroll number, it was almost $2,000 that they caught and have reversed or in the process of reversing. And that kind of jumped out at me because the negative 8,000 on the, it was not the number it should be if it was truly divided by 12. So I'm comfortable that we are there. Any questions on the P and L? On the profit and loss by class, this is a report that separates out the income that we're bringing in from the loan fund and as well as expenses, as well as operating income and expenses. The key to this report is the bottom of the second column. Net income. It shows we have an $1,800 positive number, which means we're not using we're not relying on any of the interest, which we don't take from the loan fund to sustain operations. There have been times where that number is a negative, and because we don't take currently any of the interest from the two loan funds to support operations, we're basically draining cash with that. But in this case, we're starting the year off well, and we have discussed the fact that at this pace, we're looking at $130,000 to $140,000 of interest, and we have grown the loan fund considerably. And as we do have budgetary pressures in the future, the board may decide or want to allocate some portion of that for managing the CEDC loan fund. I think it would be hard to take the SBA interest because the SBA is paying us a grant to manage that loan fund. But you could pick up $40,000 or $50,000 a year of income as you look forward in future years, but from a budgeting standpoint. At this point, we're not in a position where we need it. Are there any questions on any of the financial reports?
Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. On to the Governance and Nominating Committee, Rachel Levine.
Yep, we governance and nominating committee met, and on our agenda today is approval for our committee charter and also the bylaw review. Andy, we can vote at the same time for both of them, or are they separate?
I would do them separately.
Okay.
And
So
really, I guess the topic for the bylaw review is talk about term limits and things like that.
Yeah, okay, so do we want to have a discussion about what's in the bylaws and the term limits first?
Well, I think you could do the charter first.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's on
that hasn't
page-
changed at all.
Okay, so
Which
page
is a
19 is the
requirement, yeah,
this is a housekeeping.
yeah,
nothing's changed.
ABO requires it.
So this is a good time if anyone has any questions about it, to talk about it. I'm assuming everyone's looked through it and is familiar with it, nothing's changed. If everyone is okay with it, we just need a motion to. Make a motion to.
Second.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? So carried, so then moving on to the bylaw review.
Yeah, so one of the things that came up at the governance and nominating committee meeting is, if you recall, what we've done in the past with regard to term limits is we've exempted out officers from having that apply. And what we talked about at the committee level is, in terms of the number of years you wanted to have on term limits, there was a thought, well, we could include other officers on there if there are members that we want to keep involved on the CEDC board. My thought to put out there is it may make sense. There's no defined rule that says it has to be 6 years. So it may be, because we have had some, when we have really good people, it seems like they're gone very quickly and then we lose them. So, it's a philosophical question on whether you set that term limit at 9 years. Knowing the size of the board, knowing kind of the people that are involved, knowing that there will be some people coming off that may otherwise stay. There's nothing that would run afoul of the APO if we decided to do that. But I think Mike and I wanted to get input before we propose those changes, which we could propose at the next meeting.
And I think that with a strong chair and a strong executive committee and governance committee. If it was simply the desire of the second term expiring board member that they wanted to stay for 3 more years, but they hadn't performed, they just don't nominate. And I think that, it would be up, the board will ultimately have the control if they want to have someone continue, but by extending it to a maximum of 9 years, if they were someone they wanted to keep, they didn't have to either budget or do a bylaw change for a particular person.
And on page 43, it's just kind of a good reminder of, the who the board consists of and also the terms and when they expire. Because sometimes you're filling a vacancy that is at the end of
Which gives
3
you
years,
12
even though
years.
you said, right, so it's just a kind of good reminder where are you at, and take a look at the board and think about our committee. And you said at the next meeting, we'll propose that, so it gives everyone kind of a chance to think
And
about
then
it.
that would give us sufficient time to incorporate it into the annual meeting business meeting resolution.
And then next on the agenda is board openings, which as you're looking at page 43 in the board of directors terms. It's good to just kind of look at where the vacancies are. Chip, we have 3 vacancies. So we are actively looking for new board members, but we're trying to be wise and kind of selective about who it is, but it's hard to get people who are interested and willing to show up for meetings, so. If you do know anyone, please definitely forward them.
What are your current criteria, your interest, what are you looking for?
I think we're really open. We would love to have members of the community. We often look at what towns and villages are
If you look at the
represented.
next page,
That's a good place to start.
They don't have the northeast corner.
Yeah.
The county is not really that.
we had, as you recall, we did have one of the Bensons, and it was just, it's a 40-minute drive, 50-minute drive. Sometimes that's this hour.
And he worked in the morning.
And he was
Could be on the screen,
you
no?
can't vote.
Oh, right,
The governor,
yeah,
in
What are they gonna
COVID
change that?
rules.
yeah.
They want meetings, public meetings should be in person unless you have medical or you're caretaking someone.
But it has
in your
the
family.
opposite effect of actually encouraging intent, in this very
Right.
attendance, sure.
It will
It's
be
just
interesting,
important for us
though,
to
that those rules are actually up, they run until this July. So I'm curious to see what the state does. If they get feedback, they may modify the open meetings law.
Maybe
There
we
were
put that,
more people
maybe we
that
put that-
attended our village board meeting than during COVID.
the governor set up this
Yeah.
website where you go and you put where there are unduly regulated restrictions. Maybe we send her a note that we want
To your
to
question,
loosen up the open meeting law.
Sean, we did talk about in the committee a few times, getting someone from a development, a manufacturing, the sectors that we make decisions on, but we don't necessarily have a representation from. So that's something that we also.
Can I ask, under town, is that where your residence is or where your business is?
The flip flops.
Depends.
Maybe
Whichever one works best.
I think we should add a second column that says business in town, and if they're the same, then you get.
It might not even matter, I was just
Yeah.
curious.
And
You have something else? I
No,
see you,
just
I
trying to-
see you thinking, you're formulating that
Process it.
statement.
I do think, there was a time when, attributed to our dear friend Greg Finger, who said, you need more people who sign the front of the check, rather than the back of the check, meaning business owners. And, I don't think that's a insult to any of us sitting here, but, I think that, that really goes to Tara's point that a manufacturer, and I think we've always wanted it to be the CEO. Maybe we have to look at the senior officer, because of the time commitment. And, why don't, we'll give the committee the list of, manufacturers identifying which manufacturers have been active as members.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
On to the loan committee, Justin.
Sure, the road committee met last week. We had, one or two loans that we approved under board levels. We have one to discuss, from Wonderstop LLC. Also portfolio dashboard. For that.
This dashboard is as of February 17th. Since then, we've had one client bring their loan current. One client tell us they're mailing checks. Another one is working with consultants of ours. I think you know about the two that are in default. That leaves 4 clients that haven't responded to our emails, which is always a concern. We will call them this week. You know, it is February. What you don't see on this report is how many people are 20 days late or 25 days late. This only shows people that are 30 plus days in arrears. And it feels like spring is a long way off, but we are working with the clients and doing our best to manage all of our loans. And we do have loans in the pipeline. And we're requesting this week another drawdown from the SBA, $300,000 from our $1 million loan. Are there any questions?
And in connection with that, we're taking interest from, one of our existing loan accounts to create that cash reserve, which I don't consider taking it for operation.
Can I please have a motion to approve the portfolio dashboard?
So.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
So then the next we have, Wonderstop LLC.
Yes, good morning, everybody. So this is a loan request from Wonderstop LLC, located here in Hudson. They're a food service. The request of us was a $25,000 SBA micro loan across 72 months, 7.75%, $435.25 a month. Purpose of the loan being equipment purchase and working capital, and our collateral being a lien on business assets and the personal guarantee of the principal. This is Wonderstop LLC. Any questions? Thank you.
Steve, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The loan is approved. On to the working capital microloan program.
Yeah, hello again. So this is page 47. So this is a carbon copy, if you will, of what was the rapid recovery loan during the pandemic that the board had authorized. We proposed a $15,000 working capital loan to existing businesses. We've listed some criteria that they need to be in business for 2 years. They have a minimum credit score of 650. Of course, the personal guarantee of the business owner, as well as subject to our underwriting criteria. Purpose of this is a quick injection of cash into the existing businesses to hopefully get on through the tough winter months. This was a, go ahead, Mike.
It was very successful during COVID. And also, we do have, significant money to lend. We found it, to be, by having these preordained criteria, we were able, to move it quickly. But, we have $690,000 in, the CEDC account, 443 in the SBA account. We're gonna draw down 300,000 more. We're gonna have $1 million available to lend, and if we can put through $150,000 to $200,000 out under this program, we think that it would work. And we did about 15 or 16 during COVID.
I think it was about 15, and it's important to note that we wouldn't have to go to the loan committee or the board for approval if they met the criteria. We would just need CEO approval.
And we had no defaults during COVID, and the payment, do we, that off the top of your head?
358.
358 a month.
$15,000 a month.
So, it does give small business an opportunity to have some cash flow or working capital.
How did you market it primarily during COVID to generate interest?
We did an e-blast. We noted it was in our newsletter. I think we sent a press release to the
I
newspaper.
think we may have
Okay.
taken out an ad or two. I'm hesitant to do that.
Yeah.
during COVID, it was different. Our banking friends might think it's, a little bit too, bold, because we're really looking for our client base, not
New-
somebody who, hey, I get it worth 15,000.
Yeah, that's what's,
So it gets shopped around to existing people that have used.
And we have a 3,500
Okay.
listserv newsletter,
Okay.
and, yeah, we were thinking of going back and, yeah, we have with at least 7 years of data on the computer, with the system we bought to, pull previous customers to see if they, and it might interest them in, oh, I don't need a $15,000 loan, but I want to buy a $25,000 piece of equipment.
Right.
Which
Right.
we would bring to you under the policies.
I know a lot of businesses have been having a difficult winter because of the cold and the cold snap. People aren't going out, they're not shopping, they're not eating out, that sort of thing. So,
it costs more.
yeah. So something like this seems really ideal.
Mike, is there a maximum amount of businesses that
I mean, we
can
could set,
take that?
we could set 200,000. So that, we weren't going crazy here.
I was just
And
curious.
if it was more popular, we'd come and ask for greater approval. That would be what, I told them in the fourth grade, we'd have calculators.
Maybe depending on availability of funds.
Well,
but if,
16. But if
Yeah.
they meet the criteria, it's basically first come, first serve.
Right.
Yeah, but the criteria isn't easy for many of our clients. But if as Chris jumped out, 18 loans,
Yeah.
so that would be more than we would think. So if we put a $200,000 cap on
Okay.
it, we can always come back.
Other questions, comments about this program? Do we need the board's approval? Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion's carried. Got a new loan program. Victoria Walsh is here to give us a presentation about the new Columbia Green Community College.
Thanks, Jim, and I'm going to invite my colleague Carl Norris, who's Executive Director of Workforce Development, to join me. He's the other half of the discussion. So we just wanted to come here. I've been obviously in this role now since July, and Mike's been a great partner to the college in terms of our connection to the work of this board. And just since July, I've been spending a lot of time meeting with people, listening to the priorities for the college going forward. So I just wanted to share with you where I think the college is at, where our opportunities are for growth, and really what that means for the local communities, and the things that we're going to be focused on, particularly over the next year or so. So why is the college important? I think the college is generations deep here. If there's one thing that I've heard as I've gone around the counties, there are so many alum in Columbia and Greene counties. I don't think I've ever encountered as many alum locally in my career. So the college means a lot to the people in this area. Obviously, with the hospital, we have Brian here, it's one of the largest employers. So it's a significant business, as well as providing the kind of mission that it does as an educational institution. So the primary mission of what the college does is to meet the educational and workforce development needs of these communities. And really, we offer that in an affordable and accessible way. And so in a very simple way, that is really the heart of the mission of our college. And having a college in the counties is really significant for economic development, because to attract, and Mike has said this numerous times, to attract businesses and to attract the kind of investment we want to see, having a college in the area that can act as the primary educational partner is very critical In fact, we're working at the moment with a county that does not have a college, and they're really seeing the impact of this as they're trying to build their economic infrastructure. So the college is a very, very important strategic partner to all of the work that we do around strengthening the local economy and building the wealth of the people who live here, who can move into jobs and stay here. So we have to strengthen and transform the college, and doing that in the current time is not without its challenges, as you can imagine. And the current needs that these communities have and that the college has is not small. And so we have to change, and we have to change fairly quickly. And if there's one thing that higher ed is not built for, it's speed. It's a very slow industry traditionally. So we are in the situation where the industry is really accelerating around us, changing federally in terms of the state, in terms of private higher ed that is encroaching on the local area. I'm sure many of you see constantly Southern New Hampshire University's advertisements around online learning and the adult market. So we're not without our competition, not just from local higher ed, but beyond that too. But we were just reviewing some data recently that the economic impact of the college for these counties is around 45 million a year. And that comes in various forms. So what are we seeing at the college? Well, we're seeing a very rapid shift in our demographic. The college was really built for the traditional age student, the ones who come to us from high school, who are not ready for the 4-year school, to come spend some time, maybe get their associate's degree and progress on or go out into the workforce. As all of you know, because you're in the area, there is a declining population in our schools. And we have about 1,100 students a year from all of the 13 schools who are available to come to the college. And that's declining rapidly. And of course, not all of them are going to come to this college. Not all of them are going to go to college at all. So that is a really small population. And if the college stays focused on that, the college will close because it's just going to continue to decline. So we have to look at the population that's around us now. And what we have found in both counties is that there are 40,000 adults in Columbia and Greene who have some college but no credential, didn't complete for whatever reason, or have never been to college. And so the changing demographic for the college is really what we would call the adult learner, which is those over 25. And so that is where the college needs to start to move. But to do that requires quite a significant overhaul of how the college is structured. Many of you have heard of the SUNY Reconnect program. That's something that the state introduced last semester, where adults 25 to 55 can come to community college for free, including tuition and books and supports in high demand fields. And we've seen, we didn't see a jump in enrollment as a result of that because many of our high demand fields are already full. Our programs like nursing and automotive technology, we have a wait list for those programs. But we did see an increase in the number of students able to stay and finish their education, which is really, really critical. So right now we're very quickly changing our program portfolio to make them more eligible for the SUNY Reconnect dollars. And what we're also seeing, so we're seeing the age of the students increase at the college, but we're also seeing many more students coming to us from other counties and also from out of state, which is really an interesting shift for us. And they're coming really, for some of our programs, definitely, particularly healthcare. But they're also coming for the smaller learning environment, which is more supportive and can support their needs much better. We're also seeing a change in modality demand. So students want to learn online. Currently, Columbia Greene has no fully online program. It has many courses that have online offerings, but we cannot keep up currently with the demand for our online modality. They want a lot more flexibility. Many of our adult learners come, they stop out, they come back, they go full-time, they go part-time, they take a course. It's not as straightforward as the traditional population that would come 2 years, complete and go. So it's a lot more erratic, which makes predicting our finances much more difficult. And so we're trying to manage that right now. But also a lot of, and Carl will talk about this too, a lot of our learners want shorter term credentials, micro credentials, professional development. They want clearer pathways to come to college. For a lot of our adult learners, coming and committing to a 2-year degree seems a mountain to climb. But they are looking for a shorter term program, a non-credit program that would provide a ramp onto the college's pathway. So we're having to respond to this very sudden but very swift need for how the college is structured. And we do have obviously financial challenges which come from a lot of change. At the moment, higher ed is in the spotlight quite considerably. But the traditional funding model for the college was always built on full-time equivalent students. So when you have traditional students who come, who are full-time and stay for 2 years, it's a much more predictable funding model. So for example, now our full-time equivalent of students is 717 students who are full-time equivalent. But we actually serve 1,300 students because of the part-time nature of our students. So we almost have double of the students who touch our infrastructure, but are not really funded by the current funding model. That's not what you would like, would you, Brian, if that was the way you were funded? So these kinds of challenges are becoming very critical for us. So financial sustainability and responding to the modern needs becomes a very, very important thing for the college. And so we have to change, and we have to change quickly. And that obviously comes with some of the internal challenges. The state, though, is continually investing in the college and in the SUNY infrastructure, which is really helping us. And we are seeing an increase in state dollars coming for certain needs, which is wonderful. Higher ed is also high on the federal agenda. And one of the things that we are particularly excited about is the closer alignment of workforce development needs with the mission of community colleges. That is something that is very much front and center of some of the legislative changes right now at the federal level. So the college is currently in conversation with the leadership of SUNY, with the Department of Labor and the Capital Region Workforce Development Board on repositioning the college as the educational provider of choice in these counties. And that is work that we must do very, very quickly to make sure that the college continues to be well positioned in this environment. So our relationship with the economic development corporations here and over in Green and local business industry is a very critical piece of the college's success. And that is something that we're going to build upon in the coming months. And so what the college has done, and I'll talk about this very briefly, is we've developed a 5-pillar institutional sustainability plan. This is to guide the work of the college while we construct a bigger strategic plan that will chart the vision for the next 5 years. The first pillar is financial sustainability, and I've talked about why that is important. The second one is growing our healthcare programming and partnering much more closely with the hospital, for example, who support us in myriad ways. They're really a strong partner to us. But we are expanding our RN program coming this fall, which is very exciting to make sure that we are meeting that local workforce need in healthcare. This past spring, we launched our new licensed practical nurse program, which meets a significant need in both of these counties as that infrastructure continues to accelerate. And we actually filled our class. It's a weekend program, which is another change we have to make, a move from Monday to Thursday, 8 to 4, to evenings and weekends and online. So the infrastructure is changing to meet student need. But our LPN program, fully online program, we got 30 seats filled like that within a few weeks of opening the applicant pool. We could, of course, expand much more, but 2 issues. One, clinical spaces are an issue in nursing across the board. And also healthcare programs are high cost, low revenue. So we have to be careful about our expansion. But we do have a long waiting list for both RN and LPN programs. But we are looking to expand non-clinical healthcare programs too, like healthcare management, which would meet some of the needs of the industry right now. But we also have to look at expanding other programs too, because some of these workforce development programs, like nursing, like automotive, like construction, they are very costly to run. And so if we only focused on them, we would not be able to sustain that. So we have to look at our program portfolio overall. The third pillar is around building a center for teaching, innovation and learning. And we opened that last fall. The faculty are doing a tremendous job in upskilling our faculty in new and emerging technologies like how to build virtual reality into our programs, the response to artificial intelligence, making sure our faculty are able to teach online, to teach adult learners. When a lot of our faculty are used to teaching the traditional market, teaching in these other modalities and other demographics is a challenge. So we've invested very heavily in a Center for Innovation to make sure the emerging technologies and modalities are supported in terms of the college's infrastructure. And the fourth pillar is around student success. So we've completely restructured our student success model so that we make sure that students don't just come to us, but they actually come, stay and finish. Because that is critical. If they do not finish their program, they leave us in a worse place than when they came, because they come having studied something, but maybe exhausted a lot of their financial aid and have no credential to take with them. So we really want to focus on the success piece, not just bringing students in, but making sure they're fully holistically supported to complete and be successful. And the last pillar, which is what I'll hand over to Carl, is really increasing our non-credit pathways and our workforce development infrastructure so that we can meet the current need. So I'll hand over to you, Carl.
Thanks, Victoria. So I'm Carl Norris, and just about all of those things Victoria just mentioned specific to workforce development, I'm the person that's meant to facilitate them for her at our campus. But yeah, I mean, she essentially nailed it and covered all of them. My experience is within SUNY at SUNY Community Colleges. So I just started here 9 months ago, but that's sort of my specialty, as well as just general transferable program management. But yeah, what we're doing now is making our programs more accessible and equitable, and providing non-traditional on-ramps and pathways for people that are outside of the traditional school age learner for a program that, you know, starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m. And if you don't start in the fall semester, you need to wait all the way until the next fall because the program is semester specific. So eliminating a lot of those barriers is critical to serve the adult learner, which SUNY states age 25 to 55, and that correlates to the programs Victoria mentioned, which are Reconnect. But from my point of view, my area, at least for the purposes of this meeting, the important things I think for you to take away, in addition to what Victoria stated, are that the college is meant to be able to serve the local employers. So if your employees need training or leadership management, business owners, CEOs, we can provide that to directly assist your business. And vice versa, if a person is coming to the college to take a micro-credential or a degree program, whether the program they're enrolled in is 8 to 15 weeks long or 2 years, the plan and the idea and the purpose is that that person would then stay here and contribute to the local workforce, and they wouldn't go outside of the two counties. So those are really our main objectives and goals. And the only thing I'd add to that is that, as Victoria mentioned, things are changing so much, and we take a lot of our initiative and advisement from SUNY. And the way things are being measured now is not just about how many 18-year-old high school students attended your institution and then transferred to a four-year school. And so our outcomes are now able to include things
that involve people coming and just taking a 3 credit, 3 class micro credential to reskill or upskill. And it's so important that that person that's interested in that knows, how long is that going to be? What is it going to get them? And how much does it cost? Really just be taking it down to like more of the ground level. I hope that helps.
Does anyone have any, we just wanted to make sure you had an overview of where the college was at, where it's heading. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Say anything about, you mentioned the sort of challenges internally and kind of realigning to a new demographic and, I mean, are those about kind of the recruiting faculty and who are more flexible themselves or like what, I mean, because you have the student traditionally, this traditional student idea, you also have the traditional idea of what a faculty member would be, right? With the same courses and consistency and everything, but it sounds like you're trying to create a much more dynamic, flexible kind of model.
Yeah, and it is a culture clash, because again, higher ed isn't really built for that. It was built for consistency and kind of slowness, really. And that's what you love about it, but it's also what can hold you back. And so there are, like anywhere, change management is very, very complex and it's very difficult. But we do have a very strong contingent at the college who understand what's happening and are working with us to drive it forward. And then we have people for whom that is difficult because they have been formed in a very different type of college and a very different type of industry. And so working with them is obviously part of what we do in managing the change. But the important thing is we can't stop the change because the change is happening whether we're with it or not. And the important thing is we have to be with it in order to move forward. Or the college really won't be successful and it will have to change in ways we probably wouldn't want it to change. And then it would be out of our control. So I think the point is a really important one. What we've leaned on though is the data. That is really key to telling the story. In the past, the culture told the story of the college. Now we can talk about it in a more objective, data-driven way. Which really, it's hard to argue with some of the things that we're seeing. But it's a really critical point. You get this at the hospital, Brian. This is
And in terms of whether it be healthcare or the college, to imagine the negative economic impact on this community and on Greene County without you both. Would be overwhelming to even think about. And I think that working with the workforce board and Amanda and others, the opportunity to expand and give the small businesses, remember we have 70+% of our businesses have less than 10 employees. The opportunity to have an employee go and take a course or whatever. And Dr. Walsh invited James Hanish and I, my counterpart in Greene County, to attend a visit with Chancellor King. And as I told him, the other great part of the college is it allows us to have somewhere we can call Switzerland when we want to have a Columbia County meeting, where no one feels that they're going into the other person's county because the college is supported by both. So thank you for what you're doing and
thank you for all the support.
Good to see the focus that you've had in a short time and with Carl's help.
Yeah, wonderful. We have great people.
It's a great partnership.
I just quickly sort of share that, like how many years ago now, 6 to 7 years ago, we started a workforce development program with a college, which we fund through grants and private donations. And it's a kind of full year program. And I have learned so much in doing it about exactly these issues that, when we started, I thought, oh, there'll be X number of students and they'll be interested. And, our staff go into the classroom in the first semester. And that's part of the recruitment process, but also just education process. And we work with specific of the faculty, history, fine arts, and a couple other that we work with as well. And then the idea is that students would move towards having the opportunity of a fully paid summer internship at Alana in different areas. And you know, it's been, I think it takes a lot of
Takes a lot of effort.
a lot of effort and being really focused on the sort of micro successes, if I will, or, you know, so we have challenges in getting people even to
Oh,
the
yeah.
pay that we're offering, which is decent for the summer. But the one people who have come have been really amazing. And the ones that really great success story is one of our first interns is now a full-time employee at Alana, got her 4-year at New Paltz. After Columbia Green, and you know, is really an amazing contributor to our school education programs, which is
Yeah,
great.
no,
So,
it's a great partnership, and you're right. The students that we serve now have much more chaotic lives.
Yeah.
So, you know, saying an internship or an apprenticeship, that is good and important, but when a lot of our students are adults with dependent children or parents or other dependents, they're working full-time, studying full-time. It's a very different student to manage than we've managed in the past. Yeah, so.
Victoria, thank you.
Thank you for having us
Carl.
and giving us space on the agenda. Yeah, thanks.
We appreciate the information you supplied. I had no idea that you were undergoing such a transformation. And we wish you success with it, and we're happy that you're with us here on the CEDC board. Thank you for your contribution. Please keep us posted.
Will do, and thank you for having time on the agenda.
We're on to the President and CEO report.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to ask Mr. Chairman that the board consider approving, and in some cases perhaps ratifying, the 3 administrative service contracts we have. The accountants have asked us to be sure that the minutes reflect that we actually approve them. It's a CEDC contract with Capital Resource Corporation and with Columbia County. I believe we have approved the IDA contract at previous meeting, but these contracts are the 1-year agreements, and where we provide administrative services. And nothing has changed in them except the payment, and the county increased our annual appropriation from 460 to 495 to 96. And we did put $500 in as the contract amount for the CRC, because as you know, we put $5,000 a year in to keep them going. But the accountants wanted us to have some monetary consideration as part of the agreement.
All right, so there are 2 contracts, or there are 3?
There's 2.
2.
The IDA was previously approved.
All right. Any questions on this?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
With respect to my report, you can see how much everyone is doing. Martha and Steve with the loan program, Chris with the housing initiatives, Lisa and Kat with respect to the audits and other work, and the work that Riley is doing is all full-time and full bore. But I would like to just point out, if you can all think back to where you were on Halloween. And you know, last year we had a meeting on October 28th. The following Saturday was Halloween. And if you think back to Halloween and then think forward, that's the same amount of time that I will be here with you. Not that we're on a countdown. The countdown is only to ensure that when I leave, you don't find a lot of things that I didn't do.
I don't know, Mike, with this winter's weather, that seems like it was a year ago.
Yeah. So to put that in perspective, I'll yield the balance of my report to the chairman.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the public with us online? Does not appear to be. Upcoming meetings. March 3rd, the executive committee meets. March 17th, the audit committee. March 23rd, the loan committee. March 31 is the board meeting. Looking ahead to April, please make sure you have both April 21st and 28th. Those are both Tuesdays marked on your calendar. The 21st would be the board meeting. The 28th is the annual meeting at 7:30 a.m. breakfast meeting at Columbia Green Community College. Thank you again for hosting
No
this,
problem.
Victoria.
And COARC has reached out already.
Oh, wonderful.
The April 21st board meeting, if there's a way for us to avoid that, we'll, if we hate to make you come to two meetings back to back like that. And anything else anyone needs to bring to the table before we go into executive session?
I just wanted to make you aware of the memorandum of understanding that we have with Greene County and the Hunter Foundation in connection with an EPA grant that we are the cooperative parties on. And it doesn't commit us to anything. It just commits us to working together with them on a grant that will allow us to access between the two counties up to $1.5 million for potential initial studies as to how to deal with brownfields. And I just, I'm in my authority to do that, but I want you to be aware of it.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session on personal matters.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Executive session, it's Martha, will you stay, please?